Hi, I'm Dwayne Brown. Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, the flu outbreak is getting worse around San Diego County, and the president is getting ready to unveil new proposals for reducing gun violence.
Also ahead, San Diego's chief of police gives us a boots-on-the-ground look at gun policy and violence in San Diego. And a gun rights supporter tells us why he's against gun regulations. I'm Peggy Pico with those stories in just a few minutes.
So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the new head coach of the San Diego Chargers, Mike McCoy.
The Chargers have a new head coach. Mike McCoy talks about his strategy for turning the team around. And Facebook unveils a new feature, while researchers in San Diego unveil some surprising new findings about the social media network. KPBS Evening Edition starts now.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Erwin Jacobs and by
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. County Health Agency says 4 more San Diegans have died of the flu. There have been 6 deaths in the county this flu season, and the number of flu cases doubled last week. An additional 300 were reported. The county health department is advising people to get vaccinated. A prominent consumer group is suing Anthem Blue Cross over its new policy requiring HIV patients to get their medications through the mail. A San Diego man is the lead plaintiff in the lawsuit. KPBS health reporter Kenny Goldberg joins us from the News Center. Now, Kenny, tell us more about this new policy and why it's being challenged.
Well, the new policy from Anthem Blue Cross requires HIV/AIDS patients to get their medications via a mail-order pharmacy. They can no longer go to their local pharmacy and get their HIV/AIDS medications. It's being challenged because HIV/AIDS patients say it's discriminatory. It's not fair to single them out for special treatment and not include other people in that as well. I spoke to the lead plaintiff for the case in San Diego, and he said Anthem Blue Cross sent him a letter spelling out this policy is for his HIV/AIDS meds, but it didn't talk about the meds that he gets for other conditions that he gets through Anthem Blue Cross.
And what does Anthem say about this new policy?
Anthem says they're applicable to the new laws, they follow the new laws, and that this is a cost-saving step. That's their explanation for it.
And where do we go from here in regards to the lawsuit?
The consumer group Consumer Watchdog, which is filing the suit, is asking the court for an injunction to block this change. It's scheduled to take effect March 1st. So they're asking the courts to block it ahead of that and then have a full court hearing.
KPBS health reporter Kenny Goldberg. San Diego Chargers have a new head coach tonight after interviewing 5 candidates in the past week. His name is Mike McCoy, and he spent 4 years as the offensive coordinator with the Denver Broncos. McCoy calls it an opportunity of a lifetime to bring his family to San Diego. As a former college and NFL quarterback, he says he'll work closely with Philip Rivers to improve the Chargers' offense with one goal in mind: to win a championship.
That's our job as a football coach, is to find out what do your players do best. And hey, we're going to have the players give us a lot of input. We don't have all the answers as coaches. Nobody's got all the answers in this business. So I think we're going to, it's going to be an open arm deal to where we're going to say, hey, defensively, offensively, special teams, what do our players do best, and take advantage of the talent we have here.
This will be his first head coaching position for the 40-year-old. McCoy replaces Norv Turner, who was fired after missing the playoffs for the 3rd season in a row. Tomorrow morning, President Obama will unveil his proposals to fight gun violence. He will be joined at the White House by Vice President Joe Biden, who put together recommendations after a series of meetings with different stakeholders in the gun debate. Congressional officials say the president has been looking at steps he can take through executive orders, bypassing opposition from lawmakers. Chula Vista's mayor has joined a national movement for tighter gun control. The group Mayors Against Illegal Guns has launched a new ad campaign demanding action.
My son,
my daughter,
my dad,
my brother
was murdered with a gun.
Murdered with a gun.
It can happen to your child.
Enough.
Cheryl Cox has introduced a resolution in Chula Vista calling on the president and Congress to make concrete reforms to reduce gun violence. Cox is currently the only mayor in the region to join Mayors Against Illegal Guns. City Council in Del Mar is urging the fairgrounds to cancel its contract with a gun show promoter. Crossroads of the West has been holding shows in Del Mar for 22 years now. Some neighbors started a campaign to end the shows after last month's school shooting in Connecticut. Last night, the Del Mar Council unanimously passed a resolution. It says promotion of the gun culture is not consistent with the city's image. It also says hosting gun shows in Del Mar and calling them the Del Mar Gun Show implies tacit approval of the shows by citizens. The resolution will go to the Del Mar Fair Board, but it's already said the shows will continue. Peggy Pico finds out what gun legislation would look like if it were up to San Diego's chief of police.
California banned assault weapons in 1989 following a massacre of children with an AK-47 at an elementary school in Stockton. The law also bans large-capacity ammunition magazines. Here with his boots-on-the-ground take on gun policy and violence is San Diego's Chief of Police, William Lansdowne. Thanks so much for being here again.
Thanks for inviting me, Peg.
Police officers obviously are on the front lines when it comes to gun violence. How often and what kind of firepower do they actually face here in San Diego?
You know, we're seeing an increase in the types of weapons and the quality of weapons that we face on a daily basis in the city of San Diego, and I'm just an adamant advocate that we need some kind of assault weapons ban across the nation, because even though we have a ban here in California, they can go across state lines and get those weapons and bring them in.
I was going to ask you that.
We've had two shootings. One was on Halloween. The person was armed with an M14, which is a military-grade weapon, a .308 that punches right through our bulletproof vest. He fired 6 shots that went through the police car. We were lucky the officers were able to return fire and put him down. And then just this weekend, we had a suicide where a person was armed with an AR-15 and confronted the officers with that AR-15.
Ray, I did want to ask you about that. Is it difficult to enforce gun policy here in San Diego and cities if you don't have that national policy in place?
Well, it makes the access of those guns quickly and easily available to people. Even though there's a ban here, you can't buy it in California. You can go across state line and bring them back. And
bring it across. You told us about the 2 deaths. What about gun-related injuries, either to your officers or also to the public? How has that been going, and what's the situation with that right now?
Well, I have a very personal stake in this. I've lost several officers in my career of 47 years. And the officers in many cases face people better armed than they are, which puts them at a tremendous disadvantage. They have a handgun and they're facing somebody with an assault weapon, puts them in just great risk. And we need to manage that and make it safer for the police officers and the community that we serve.
So let's talk about that. What gun regulations would you support as far as background checks, assault weapons? What would be on your wish list?
Well, where I'd like to go nationally, and I think New York just passed one in their state, is to ban assault weapons with a good definition so we all know what an assault weapon is. I think that high-capacity magazines needs to be banned from importation and sale throughout the nation. I very much want better background checks for mental health issues or domestic violence. We have the capability and the database capability to do that, but it needs to be enforced nationally to be able to manage a lot of the gun issues that we have. In San Diego, we've seen a 50% increase over the last 3 years in mental health calls that we go to. It needs to be addressed quickly, and it needs to be addressed by a very courageous president. I think he's going to do that tomorrow.
Already, the National Rifle Association says that arming more citizens, this is their take on it, if everybody had a gun, we'd be safer. But they have also said that strict gun regulations don't cut down on the number of homicides. As a police officer, do you believe that's true?
Not at all. I can tell you for every homicide that we have, there are 3 people shot with weapons. The only difference between a homicide and the shootings that are taking place across the country is aim in the process. But when they say that, They don't talk to the mother that has to put their children in a bathtub at night to protect them from stray rounds being shot off in the neighborhoods. There's plenty of information show the fewer guns there are, the less suicides, the less shootings, and the less homicides take place.
Alrighty, we are out of time. Police Chief Lansdowne, thanks so much for sharing your insight on this. And I want to let people know that I'll be back in just a minute with another viewpoint about protecting Second Amendment rights when it comes to gun regulation.
New York State now has the nation's toughest gun restrictions. The law includes a tougher assault weapons ban and provisions to try to keep guns away from mentally ill people who make threats. Mental health professionals will be required to report patients who make such threats. And a recent Pew Center poll on gun regulation finds bipartisan and public support for some gun policy changes, but not all. Researchers say 85% of Americans favor background checks for private and gun show sales, and about 80% support a law to prevent the mentally ill from buying guns. Two-thirds say they favored a federal gun tracking database, and 64% of those polled say they support putting armed security guards or police in more schools. Peggy Pico has more on the debate over gun control.
Despite public and bipartisan support for revised gun regulations, the National Rifle Association called Vice President Biden's gun reform plan an agenda to attack the Second Amendment. Here with his take on the issue is former Libertarian congressional candidate and Second Amendment advocate Mike Benoit. Mike, thanks for talking to us about this. When you ran for Congress back in 2010, how much of your platform actually was involved or focused on Second Amendment rights?
My platform is just focused on human rights in general, so the Second Amendment is just one of those rights. So they're all equally important.
And what are you doing now with the Libertarian Party in regards to Second Amendment?
Well, currently I'm the campaigns chair for the Libertarian Party, and whenever we can, no matter what the issue is, we come down on the side of liberty.
Okay, the National Rifle Association said that they'll support a law to keep guns out of the hands of those who are mentally ill. I know they don't represent all gun owners in America, but would you agree with that limitation or any limitations on gun regulation?
I wouldn't agree with that limitation, because all you have to do to set up that kind of a law is somebody that visited a psychiatrist could be considered mentally ill, mentally impaired, and then lose their right to keep and bear arms. So those kinds of regulations do no good in regards to keeping the guns out of the hands of somebody that might be crazy or go crazy.
Do you support background checks for private and gun show sales at all?
No, I don't support that either. You know, the idea that, again, we got a background check, we're going to keep the bad guy from getting a gun. The bad guy's going to get the gun if he has to steal the gun. So these are sort of placebos, make people feel good.
I want to get right to the heart of the issue that probably most people would want to know from you is, you know, do you support any kind of limitation whatsoever on any weapon, any ammunition, magazine size, any shape of these weapons whatsoever?
I think the only limitation would be if the weapon or the ammunition was volatile and could, you know, cause damage in itself without a human actor on it.
And you mentioned, of course, nuclear arms might do that. So, but we already have some limitations in place, right? Like, we're not allowed to put a cannon in our front yard. We're not allowed to have any ground to surface weapon of any kind whatsoever. So, you know, why not regulate AK-47s or these kind of guns that are made specifically for killing people?
Well, you could say, you know, we already have these regulations with, say, a cannon. You can't put a cannon in your yard, and I would be fine if somebody had a cannon in their yard. I think it'd be kind of cool. But then take it down and say, well, let's take away the AK-47, let's take away the 9mm, let's take away this, let's have no guns. So what is the agenda really? You know, my agenda and the Libertarian Party's agenda is human rights, human liberty, and we should be able to protect ourselves, our life, our liberty, and our property. If we have to, with deadly force. We should never use deadly force in an offensive manner, though. Okay,
let me get to the one last question here. And aside from the NRA's idea of putting armed guards in schools, what do you think could be done to help thwart these sort of massacre shootings and massacres that we're seeing prevalent?
I think the local school districts should take measures. You know, it doesn't have to be a national program, but the local school districts can take measures. The local ordinances, the federal ordinances regarding the gun-free zones ought to be repealed. But if we send our child to school, then we expect the school to, you know, watch out for the safety of our child. So, you know, not a national program, but
local. Anything else that you think we could do to prevent, you know, these guns being used for mass destruction?
You know what? People are going to go crazy. It's going to happen from time to time. I'd rather not see a situation where the government has all the guns and the people don't have any, because those prove disastrous for us too.
Okay, we are out of time. So Mike Benoit, Second Amendment advocate, thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you.
A local think tank says San Diego drivers spend more time on the road than any other big city in the state. The report from the Equinox Center says the average San Diegan spends about 40 hours a year sitting in traffic. We also apparently travel more miles per day than drivers in L.A., San Francisco, even Orange County. The findings are part of a quality of life report the center will release on Thursday. The federal government's offering some cash to give a boost to small farmers, the ones who grow specialty and organic crops for ethnic and farmers markets. The Agriculture Department is offering micro loans of up to $35,000 for these farmers. The loans are also available to minorities and veterans who want to take up farming. And Walmart says it will hire more than 100,000 veterans over the next 5 years, beginning Memorial Day. The company says it will hire any returning vet who wants a job. The applicant has to have been honorably discharged and his or her first year of active duty. The company also says it will increase the amount of U.S. products it buys by $50 billion over the next decade. Facebook has unveiled a new search feature for the social networking site. It's called Graph Search. It lets users search their social connections for information about people or interests, so you can find friends in your own town who share the things you like. Facebook is rolling the new feature out slowly, only in English for now, and only on the web, not through mobile devices. Researchers at UC San Diego say what we post on Facebook is actually easier to remember than structured book writing and even faces. Joining us from the News Center to talk about the study is KPBS reporter Angela Carone. Angela, tell us what prompted this study and what they actually found.
Well, Dwayne, researchers were trying to gauge how we process all of the updates we find on our Facebook feeds. You know, Facebook is updated 30 million times over the course of an hour. And, you know, those updates tend to be very basic stuff like, you know, I'm eating a sandwich, or I like this or that movie. But after doing some tests, it turns out those updates are more memorable than one would think. When tested against a sentence from a published book, for example, or faces, those trivial Facebook posts proved almost twice as memorable.
Yeah, go figure. The researchers, how do they know this, or why?
Well, they have a number of theories as to why this might be, but they say that the way we all write on Facebook is closer to the way that we talk naturally, whereas sentences from a book are more carefully crafted and not as spontaneous. And it seems to be easier for our brains to remember casual, natural speak. And a Facebook update is also a complete thought, and that seems to lend to its memorability.
All right. KPBS arts reporter Angela Carone. Frontier Airlines is canceling some of its service from San Diego by the end of February. The airline will no longer offer flights between Lindbergh Field and Colorado Springs. The airline is reducing its fleet of smaller regional jets and has also canceled some service in Denver. A new study says California leads the nation in charter schools. The state has more than 1,000 of the publicly funded schools. There are just over 6,000 nationwide. The National Alliance for Public Charter Schools says 109 opened last fall, but 28 others closed. Last week, we showed you how school-based health centers in City Heights are helping undocumented children get the medical care they need, but the clinics have a much broader goal: to keep all students healthy and in class. The effort's been growing under the Affordable Care Act. Through it, California school clinics have received more than $30 million. Tonight, the Speak City Heights Collaborative and teens from the Media Arts Center introduce us to another student who has benefited from the trend.
My name is Andrea Vizcarra. I am in 8th grade and I go to Monroe Clark Middle School. We have a new grand opening at our school called La Maestra Health Clinic, and it's like really helpful. I used to not exercise like in PE or anything. I went in and usually they check your pressure first and it seemed like everything's okay. And in the machine it said like it was too high, so they had to check it until like they were positively that I had high blood pressure. It's affected me from health problems, like I have asthma and I used to have high blood pressure, and they've been helping me every like step of the way, and they have to call me every single month to check up on me just to be sure everything's on task. Now that I found out I had high blood pressure, I have to like really exercise daily. Students who have brothers and sisters under 18 can be a patient at the clinic, so it's not just the students at Monroe Clark, it can be any student who has brothers and sisters under 18. Clinic, they call me up now. Like I used to rarely go to the doctor, like maybe once a year for just checkups. Well, seeing a doctor, you have to go waste time and get out of school, and when the clinic is right there, you can just go straight to class and not miss so much class time as you usually do. They said if I wouldn't have found out early, like I just found out like just in time, I would have probably had a heart attack in the future, or taken pills like every single day for the rest of my life.
That story comes to us from 16-year-old Miguel Vasquez. Monroe Clark opened City Heights' 4th school clinic in October. 2 more are in the works. People in one part of City Heights are campaigning for a special community designation, Little Saigon. They want the name for the stretch of El Cajon Boulevard between Highland and Euclid. It's home to a large Vietnamese community, and leaders there say the proposed district has great potential for economic growth. They've put a petition online at change.org. The post office on Wall Street in La Jolla has finally been listed on the National Register of Historic Places, 1 year after the Postal Service announced plans to downsize and relocate the facility. When it opened in 1935, the cost to mail a letter was only 3 cents. The Postal Service owns the building and says it only uses the front section, so it doesn't need as much space to operate. But a community task force disagreed and worked last year to save the post office. This week, they got news it's been put on the National Register of Historic Places.
Given the nature of the building, and the fact that it is now historically designated for 2 reasons. 1, community history, and 2, because of the importance of the art and architecture commissioned by the WPA, the Works Progress Administration. I think this adds a significant layer of protection to keep the building here.
It's located in the commercial core of La Jolla, where a lot of the businesses are locally owned. The Postal Service has yet to decide on the fate of the building.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next NewsHour, a newsmaker interview with National Rifle Association President David Keene. That's Tuesday on the PBS NewsHour.
Someone bought a winning Mega Millions ticket on Naval Base San Diego last September, but they've never cashed it in, and time is running out. The ticket is worth nearly $170,000. It was purchased at the base's Escape snack bar. We've got the numbers up just in case you happen to have the ticket lying around. The winner has until March 13th to claim their prize. If no one does, the money gets transferred to California schools. San Diego's finally going to start warming up a bit. The mercury will start climbing tomorrow. We'll have Sunshine as we move toward the weekend, but nighttime temperatures will stay brisk. They won't quite make the freezing point in the mountains, though. The desert may see some clouds by Friday. Recapping tonight's top stories, County Health Agency says 4 more San Diegans have died of the flu. There have been 6 deaths in the county this flu season, and the number of flu cases doubled last week. An additional 300 were reported. The county health department is advising folks to get vaccinated. San Diego Chargers have a new head coach tonight. Mike McCoy says he'll work to improve the team's offense with the goal of winning a championship. And tomorrow morning, President Obama will unveil his proposals to fight gun violence. He will be joined at the White House by Vice President Joe Biden, who put together recommendations after a series of meetings with different stakeholders in the gun debate. Congressional officials say the president has been looking at steps he can take through executive orders, bypassing opposition from other lawmakers. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. You have a great night.